So our goal here is to win a Stanley Cup. One more cup with Sidney Crosby. Let's take a look at our lines. Malkin, Crosby, Rust, Raquel, Eller, Bunting, Smith, Akari, Puljujärvi, Bemstrom, Harkins, Nidio. This is a rough lineup. Yeah, there's only one good line. Graves, Letang, Carlson, Pettersson, Joseph, and somebody else. And Ludwig. Who do I have scratched? Drew O'Connor, Tristan Jarry. Starting lineup. So basically, this challenge is we have to win one more with Sidney Crosby. We can trade anybody and everybody else. We can bring in anybody and everybody else. We just have to win a Stanley Cup with the Pittsburgh Penguins before Sidney Crosby retires. I mean, there's worse moves we could do. Yeah, there are worse moves we could do. So right now, Malkin isn't really a fit. Right out of the gate, I might actually move Evgeny Malkin because he's not really fitting this squad. Everybody else seems like a pretty good fit. I think right out of the gate, we shop Malkin. We're not going to get much. We're not going to get anything. We have got our work cut out for us. Allmark is available. He would be an upgrade. Patty Kane. Win one more with Patrick Kane. He's a douchebag. Don't get me wrong. Picks and prospects. T-Bros? Patrick Kane, welcome to the squad. Let's check Boston on that goaltending situation. Would Boston be interested? Pittsburgh would have too many goals, okay? We have to add. Boston would be over cap on that situation, so we are slightly close here. That might be overpayment. But we'll see how it goes. So we picked up Patrick Kane, and then on defense, we now have Carlo. I'm okay with this for the time being. Ugh. So that might be the trade deadline move that we do is replace Ludwig. But Ullmark is our goaltender moving forward. The other thing we could do, just take a little bit more time here, is we got to Detroit. We could have had Bobrovsky. Oh, give me Drew Doughty. We might have to do a one more with Marc-Andre Fleury challenge. Don't want Mark Stahl. Do we go with Pickles? I'm kind of hoping we can find somebody who fits all. Jimmy Oleksiak would be solid. You know what? I'm going to run it the way that it is, and we're going to reevaluate this at trade deadline. Unless we are, like, not in a position... I'm going to move down, my guys. Right now, the roster is not great. We've tried to make some adjustments. O'Connor and Joseph can go down. Honestly, the Erik Karlsson contract is kind of handcuffing us as well at 10 mil. I do think this is a playoff team. I don't think it's a Stanley Cup team as we lose to Chicago first game. GG's. Do you want to give me a result on that Anaheim game? No? That's fine. Didn't want it anyways. We're in the hunt for actually top of division. It's not a terrible squad, as now we are outside of the playoffs. Once you say something good or bad about your squad, EA turns on the microphones and says, no, it is not a terrible squad. We are a wild card. We're going to be a conservative buyer. The need right now is defensemen. Do we bring in Elise or Kuzmenko, considering he was the catalyst that got us the Stanley Cup with Stamkos? Is he the meta? It wouldn't cost us very much. The only problem is, do we have the cap space? Would we have the cap space to bring in a defenseman as well? Which I think we might. He actually does not fit this team, though. So I'm a little hesitant. Bringing in Sean Couturier? It would cost a first. And Brandon Carlo, and we're trying to add to our defense. So that's a no. Adam Larson would cost us a first or a decent prospect. He does fit defensive pairing too. He's a possibility. He's only gotten 6 points though. Wallman, again, would cost us a pretty decent prospect, and that first rounder is a little bit further down. Top 4 defensive pairings, all power play lines. This is a move we have to make. Not necessarily for both Pickering and it might be our 2025, because I'm not sure I want to give up on Brandon Yeager or Owen Pickering, even though we want to do this as quickly as possible. The clock is ticking on Sidney Crosby. If we can do this for a first and Koivunen, bang. So now, I think we're going a little too deep now. Does Ghost fit? 85 overall. Here's my thinking is if we can pick up one half decent in that 85-ish defenseman, which Ghost would be, I might be able to shed Erik Karlsson. There are no trades found for him. How's he scoring for us? 50 points in 61 games for a defenseman. Maybe not. I don't know how many other moves we need to make. Crosby's on a 30 goal. Crosby's got 30 goals already. I mean, we're scoring. Our plus minus is decent. I don't know if there's much here that we need to go after. A move it forward wouldn't be too bad, but it will cost us, again, some pretty decent prospects. I don't want somebody who fits forward line 4. Oh, yeah? We are technically a playoff team. And by technically, I mean we are. We're going to miss out on fixing this team. Can we bring in the next coming up? No, we can't. I thought I'd save Mitch Marner. It won't work. For the memes. For the memes. I'm old and I can't see. Forward line 2. Guys, for the memes, we're going to bring in Alexander Ovechkin. I don't have a lot of time to do it. This may have just become win one more with Gretzky. Win one more with Crosby and Ovechkin. Big money moves. I'll tell you what. I don't hate this. They both shoot left. These guys both shoot right. That's fine. That's fine. Ovechkin, Crosby, Kane would have been a fantastic line 10 years ago. Bunting, Eller, Rust, Smith, Akari, Nidio, Buyarvi, Harkins, Bemstrom. On defense, we've got Carlson, Letang, Graves, Wallman, Pedersen, Carlo. No, we're going to keep that +5. I'll run that -1. We're going to view contracts, and then we'll get into the postseason here. Patrick Kane is expiring. Now, his asking price is 5.6. We only have 0.775. We are not going to look at contracts anymore. Let's run it. Can this squad of old balls continue to make it into the playoffs and make a deep run as well? That's a bad losing streak. We have qualified for the playoffs, though. That is a 43-win season. 43, 31, and 8. 94 points on the season. Crosby leads the team in scoring with 80 points. 38 goals, 42 assists. Ovechkin on this squad, 16 points in 21 games. I'm okay with that. Patrick Kane, 20 goals, 47 assists for 67 points. Carlson leading the way for defensemen with 16, 48 for 64. Who else did we bring in? Wallman, 4 points, -3, not great, considering he had 18 points in 63. Allmark, 30 wins, 26 losses, 4 overtime losses, 2 shutouts, a 9-10, 287. Nedeljkovic, 13 wins, 1 shutout, 915, 270. The goalie stats are pretty close to where you'd want them. It's whether or not they're going to show up in the postseason. And in the postseason, we take on Alexander Ovechkin's former team in the Washington Capitals. Erchenko, Strome, Wilson, Raquel, who we traded for Ovechkin, Dowd, Pacioretty, McMichael, Dvorak, Oshie, Rotas, Lapierre, Milano. Their bottom 6 is better than our bottom 6. I would venture to say our top 6 is better than theirs. Van Riemsdyk, Carlson, Sandin, Bear, Jensen. I think we've got them on the defensive side. Lindgren and Gimpers. I think we've got them in that as well. We should have the edge here, but this is an EA game. You never can tell. Let's just double check our lineup really quick. I want to make sure that we don't have anybody scratched. We do, so Ludwig comes out of the roster. The rule we usually have is 2 losses in a row, we'll play with the lineup. That's a win. That's a loss. Do we have to make changes to the lineup? No. We are up 2-1. Can we make it a 3-1 lead? At home, we're tied at 2. We have the commanding 3-2 lead after Game 5. We head to Game 6. It is an elimination game. Tied at 0 after 1. Shots are pretty even. 13 for Washington, 10 for Pittsburgh. 1-1 after 2. Akari for us, McMichael for them. A win for us. We move on to the second round. A win for them. We head to game number 7. No scoring in the third. We will watch the overtime period. 14 minutes left in this first overtime period. Patrick Kane with it in the slot. Shot misses. breaks the glass behind the Washington Capitals goaltender, netminder, if you will. We get a stoppage in play. Gets poke checked. Again, Akari tries to get it out. It's stopped at the blue line. Eller, a 2-on-1 developing, but Eller is so slow. Shot! Scores! As I am slamming my own player. Was it Akari? A rip from the slot. And the Pittsburgh Penguins will move on against their bitter rivals, the Washington Capitals, eliminating them in 6 games. It was a 2-on-1, and it looked like things were developing in a very slow way. Washington was catching up to Eller. 2 guys caught up to him, and I believe that's Noel Akari with the absolute clap bomb. It was Akari picking up his second of the game, 12:51 into overtime, number 2. Your Pittsburgh Penguins will move on into the second round. Round number 2, we do get the Florida Panthers. Let's take a look and see if they made any changes over this season. Florida's Verhaeghe, Barkov, Reinhart, Tkachuk, Rodriguez, Bennett, Luosterainen, Lundell, Tarasenko, Okposo, Lawrence, Cousin. So no real major changes on the offensive. Defensive, they've got Gustav Forsling, Montour, Ekblad, Larson, Kulikov, Mikola. This might be a tough test. And by might, I mean this will be a tough test. Bobrovsky and Stolarz, their goaltending. I don't even want to be a little bit of a homer to say that we were evenly matched up. Same rules. 2 losses in a row. We play with the lineup. That's one. And it is tied 1-1. We're down 2-1. We are down 3-1. We will make changes to the lineup because we did lose 2 in a row. 3 goals, 1 assist in 10 games, 8 points, 3 points. Bunting has gotten 8 points. Eller with 6 assists. Patrick Kane hasn't really been showing up. I want to keep them where they're actually designated for their lineup. Bunting has been scoring more. Let's move Akari. Do I want to move Akari up? I don't know that I want to do that. We'll move Ovechkin down. Bunting's going to take a spot on the top line because he's scoring more. I'm going to leave this third line because Akari has been doing good. For a third line, they're scoring pretty decently. And we'll split up Carlson and Letang, try and get a little bit more defensive across the board there. So those are the changes that we're going to make. Into an elimination game. We are down 3-1. We are at home for game number 5. 2-0 good guys, Puljujarvi and Smith. 4-0 good guys, Smith and Crosby. Can we hold on and force a game number 6? Smith with the hat trick. Florida outshooting us 38-26, but we are up 5-0, and we will go back to Florida down 3-2. Allmark with the shutout. Smith with the hat trick. We go back to Florida for game number 6. It is 2-1 them. Tkachuk and Forsling for Florida. Crosby for us. We are out shooting them 14-9. 3-2. Tkachuk for them. Carlson with a power play marker for us. We are down 1 goal. We lose. We're eliminated. We win. It's a game 7. Russ ties things up early in the third. Tkachuk answers. Gives Florida that 1-goal lead. Carlo answers back, a tie game again. We have not held a lead in this game so far. Reinhart scores with about 6 left. And that might be it for your Pittsburgh Penguins. We get to the second round. Florida will eliminate us in 6 games. That is fine, as long as Sidney Crosby does not retire in the offseason. Edmonton ends up winning the Stanley Cup. Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins, we win the Calder. That's a consolation. Crosby with 12 points in 12 games, though. The Islanders move from 6-1 in the draft lottery, 5-2 for New Jersey. San Jose goes from the best odds to number 3, Seattle 2-4, Arizona 3-5. Few retired players, and Sidney Crosby will continue to be a Pittsburgh Penguin, so the challenge will continue.